The minimum period for the subordinated debt is, the minimum period for the subordinated debt is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or no minimum period. So kindly please do answer the questions, writing the right answer along with it. So you need to answer these. The minimum period of the subordinated debt is 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, or no minimum period. Kindly please do answer at the earliest. So it says 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So what is the minimum period for the subordinated debt? It is 5 years. It is a 5 years. The minimum period for the subordinated debt is 5 years. So the right answer over here will be option A. The next question, it says, which of the following is correct statement? Which of the following is the correct statement? So BCBS has formal supranational supervisory authority due to which its decisions are implemented across nations. BCBS conclusions have legal force. BCBS formulates board supervisory standards and guidelines and recommends the statement of best practices, or option D, that is all of the above. Which one of the following would be the right answer? BCBS is Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, and it forms a different regulations, and further it is laid in that particular relation only. So BCBS has formal supranational supervisory authority, or BCBS conclusions have legal force. BCBS formulates a board supervisory standards and guidelines. What of the following would be the right answer? So most of the candidates have answered option D or option C. So the right answer over here is option C, because BCBS does not forces the law, does not forces any of the regulations. These are just the recommendations. These are just the recommendations and guidelines by the BCBS for the regulators. Okay, and further it is up to the regulators, and further these are the minimum standards which are recommended by the BCBS, and further it is up to on the regulators that if they want to implement these or not. Okay, so the members companies are binded up having the obligation so as to follow these recommendations, but that is upon them, that is upon the regulators only. Okay, so BCBS formulates the board supervisory standards and guidelines and recommends the statement of best practices. So option C over here, option C over here is the right answer. Option C over here is the right answer, and Kavita has given the right answer at the earliest. Okay, next question, that is question number 3 over here. It says, which of the following is not a rating agency approved by the Reserve Bank of India for issuing the rating certificate to be used to determine the risk weight for capital adequacy purposes? So for the capital adequacy purposes, the Reserve Bank of India has permitted the credit rating agencies, so as to rate the different instruments, and as per that the risk weightage should be there. So what would be the right answer? CRISIL, CIBIL, CARE, ICRA. What would be the right answer in this particular regard? So the right answer over here is option B, that is CIBIL. So the right answer over here is the option B, that is CIBIL, because CIBIL is not credit rating agency. It is not a credit rating agency. Okay, whereas the CRISIL, ICRA, CARE are credit rating agencies. Other than that, the domestic agencies are Samira, and further in international credit rating agencies we are having Moody's, okay, and S&P. These are other credit rating agencies. The next question over here, it says, what is the meant by supplementary capital? And answer related to question number 3, it was first of all given by the question number 3 was answered at the earliest by Renuka. Okay, question number 4, it says, what is meant by supplementary capital as part of Basel III recommendations? Capital funding comprising tier 1 and tier 2 capital, tier 1 capital funds, tier 2 capital funds, paid up capital plus reserves. So which one would be the right answer? So which capital is considered to be the supplementary capital? Which capital is considered to be the supplementary capital? Now supplementary capital is basically related to what? It is related to the gone concern capital. Which capital is said to be gone concern capital? Tier 2 capital is said to be gone concern capital. So the right answer over here would be option C. So option C over here is the right answer. Kindly please do mention the question number along with it so that I could mark the right answer. So Renuka has answered at first related to this question, that is question number 4 itself, that Tier 2 capital funds are the supplementary capital funds, and further these are also said to be the going concern capital. And we can basically, we also name tier 1 capital as tier 2 capital is gone concern capital, and tier 1 is going concern capital. It is also said to be the core capital. It is also said to be the core capital. Tier 1 capital is also said to be the core capital. So the right answer over here is option C. Question number 4, option C is the right answer. And if we look at the option D over here, that is the paid up capital and reserves. That is the paid up capital and reserves. Which one of the capital it relates with? Tier 1 capital or tier 2 capital? Kindly please do answer at the earliest. I'll be naming it as 4A. Question number 4A. The question is that option D relates with which of the capital? Option D relates with which of the capital? Tier 1 capital or tier 2 capital? It relates with tier 1 capital. Very right. Again, Renuka has answered because Ashish has not mentioned the question number along with it. Okay, so it is related to what? It is related to the tier 1 capital, and appropriately we can say the paid up capital and the reserves are part of the common equity tier 1 capital. These are the components of the common equity tier 1 capital. If you remember, the paid up capital plus the statutory reserves, and further also the revaluation reserves, the foreign currency translation reserves, all these are the components of the tier 1 capital, or commonly we can say common equity tier 1 capital. Okay, so that is related to the question number 4. That is related to the question number 4. Question number 5 over here, it says under basic indicator approach for capital for operational risk, 15% of gross income is to be taken. Gross income for this purpose means, so what is covered under the gross income? So what are the different components of the gross income? Okay, so basically I already told you that whenever we are calculating the capital for the operational risk, so there are different approaches, and right now we are following, most of the banks are following which approach? Banks are following the basic indicator approach, under which the average income of 3 years is multiplied with the constant alpha, which is 15%. So the gross income is to be taken. So gross income for this purpose means what? It is net profit plus provisions and contingencies, or the other options are listed over here. So what would be the right answer in this particular regard? So sorry, the option D over here is not visible. Option D was not visible. So what would be the right answer in this particular regard? So most of all the candidates have answered option B or option C. What would be the right answer? So the first right answer is given by Ashish, which is option D. It is option D that is the right answer over here, that the gross income includes net profit plus provisions and contingencies, operating expenses, and minus such items such as a reversal sale of held till maturity category securities. Okay, so if there is any reversal sale of HTM, that is held till maturity category, so if there was some security which you kept in your portfolio, that was HTM, that you was supposed to hold till maturity, but you have sold it before the maturity, those are to be subtracted. So the right answer over here will be option D. So option D over here is the right answer. Is that clear? Question number 5, option D is the right answer. Next question, it says the risk of settlement that arises from the time zone difference is called. The risk of a settlement that arises from the time zone difference is called what? It is called the systemic risk, or credit risk, Hersted risk, or operational risk. Which one would be the right answer? So which one would be the right answer in this particular case? So as I have already told you that a bank in New York was in earlier time zone. So bank in New York was in earlier time zone, whereas bank in Germany was in later time zone. So on the date of settlement, the bank in the earlier time zone settled the transaction. Whereas in between, the regulators in Germany just just declared the Germany bank to be insolvent. That was the Bankhaus Hersted, which was basically declared insolvent in between, and there was a huge risk to the bank in New York. There was a huge risk to the bank in New York. That is due to what? That is due to the settlement. That is due to the settlement. It is also said to be Hersted risk. So option C over here is the right answer, and it is also said to be as temporal risk, or we also name it as a temporal risk or settlement risk. Temporal risk or settlement risk, and also named as Hersted risk. So the right answer over here is option C, and first of all Kavita has answered it right. Question number 6. Okay, so the next question, that is question number 7. Question number 7 it is, which of the following is not part of tier 2 capital funds for the purpose of capital adequacy ratio? So which of the following is not part of tier 2 capital funds for the purpose of capital adequacy ratio? Revaluation reserves, general provisions and loss reserves, capital reserves, both A and C. Both A and C. So which of the following are not part of a tier 2 capital funds? Revaluation reserves, general provisions and loss reserves, capital reserves, or both A and C. So which one would be the right answer in this particular regard? So first of all, the right answer has been posted by Sanju Nagal related to option D, that both the revaluation reserves and capital reserves are not the part of tier 2 capital. As we have already discussed, there were amendments in Basel III whereas previously the revaluation reserves were under the components of tier 2 capital, but now these are meant to be tier 1 capital at 55% discount. So revaluation reserves are part of tier 1 capital at 55% discount, and also the capital reserves are part of tier 1 capital. General provisions and loss reserves are component related to tier 2 capital. These are related to what? These are related to tier 2 capital. So we need to answer that what components are not part of tier 2 capital. So both A and C are not the components. So option D over here will be the right answer. So option D over here will be the right answer. And also please let me know, there is another question related to it, that what is the maximum percentage of the general provisions and loss reserves that can be considered under tier 2 capital? So this would be related to question number 7A. This would be related to question number 7A. So what is the maximum percentage of the general provisions and loss reserves that can be considered as a component of tier 2 capital? So what would be the answer related to that? So what would be the answer related to that? You also need to write the question number along with your answer, so that I could consider it to be as the right answer. So first answer over here, whether she has not mentioned the question number along with it, it is 1.25%. It is 1.25%, and the answer is given by Nilima over here, that it is 1.25% of the risk-weighted asset, of the total risk-weighted asset. The general provisions and reserves can be taken up to a amount of 1.25% of the total risk-weighted assets. Is that clear? So related to 7, it is 1.25% is the right answer. So question number 7, it was option D, that is the right answer. And further it is related to question number 8 over here, that what is not included in tier 1 capital funds for CAR purposes out of the following. So which of the following components are not there under tier 1 capital for the capital adequacy ratio purposes? Paid up capital, capital reserves, innovative perpetual debt instruments, or cumulative perpetual preference shares. Which of the following are not the component of the tier 1 capital? Which of the following are not the component of the tier 1 capital? So which would be the right answer over here? Question number 8 it is. So we need to identify those components which are not to be taken as part of tier 1 capital funds purposes for the sake of calculation of CAR, that is capital adequacy ratio. And let me tell you, paid up capital is part of what? It is part of tier 1 capital and CET1, and capital reserves are also component related to the CET1, whereas innovative perpetual debt instruments are component of tier 2 capital, and also the cumulative perpetual preference shares, that is PCPS. If you remember, I told you if it is related to PNCPS, PNCPS, perpetual non-cumulative preference share. Perpetual non-cumulative preference shares. These are component of what? These are component related to additional tier 1 capital. Additional tier 1 capital and the surplus part of this, because these cannot be taken much more than that of the 1.5%. Both the part of the PNCPS and PDI are restricted up to a percentage of 1.5% of the risk weight assets, and the surplus of this goes to tier 2 capital, if you remember. If you memorize this. And further, the PNCPS, the PCPS, that is perpetual cumulative preference shares, perpetual cumulative preference shares, or RNCPS, redeemable non-cumulative preference shares, or RCPS, that is redeemable cumulative preference shares. All these are components related to the tier 2 capital. All these are the components related to tier 2 capital, and also the innovative perpetual debt instrument, innovative PDIs, hybrid instruments, debt instruments are also the components of tier 2 capital. So option A over here is the right answer. Option A over here in this particular regard is the right answer, and Priyanka has managed to answer the answer rightly over here in question number 8. So option A is the right answer in this particular case. So option A is the right answer here.